Hey there, my name is Cathy Herring. I'm a life empowerment and mind shift coach, and I want to welcome you again to another series of Unleash Your Potentials. Discover how health and wellness can increase your confidence, inner self-worth, improve relationships, and live the life you love. Our next guest is Tammy Stewart. She is of Health for a Purpose, and she is a certified health coach who practices what she preaches.
For sure.
And she's also been certified as a cellular detoxification specialist for over a decade. And I am excited to welcome Tammy Stewart. Hi, Tammy.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. It's teaching people about true health is my favorite thing to do. I'm so happy. I'm honored that you invited me, Cathy. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's just awesome. We're on the same topic here.
Yeah.
You know, Tammy, most people in this field have had a story that they've shared with the audience, some type of journey. And I was just wondering if you have a story and if you'd like to share it with our audience.
I would love to share it because it has been a very painful journey. I could not go to school and learn the things that I've learned from the really tough life lessons that we have had in my whole family. And when I can share that with someone else and alleviate and prevent their suffering, then it's the good. It's the good that comes out of ours, because suffering is unnecessary, and we're one of the sickest countries in the world. Cathy, do you think your average listener knows that?
No, I don't. And I was going to ask you that same question. Do you think
It's outrageous.
changing?
We are, depending on which study you look at, in America, we are the third worst health in the world among the industrialized nations, measuring degenerative disease. We have more degenerative disease than other countries. Isn't that outrageous?
It is outrageous. It's just absolutely outstanding.
And I grew up on a ranch, and I don't know if you've ever seen a mad mama cow, but that's who I am standing here because my children got sick. When you're a kid and you think, when I grow up, I want to be fill in the blank. This was the farthest thing from my mind, but think about what you would do for your children or your loved ones. Would do anything, right?
Absolutely.
So I felt like we were healthy compared to all of our friends. We were among the healthiest. We ate differently. We lived differently. But our oldest son was about a junior in high school, and he came to us and he said that he felt depressed. And I thought depression was an emotional problem. And I looked at his life and I thought, what's the problem? I don't understand. What's making you feel depressed? I did not understand depression can be a physical problem. So we prayed about it because, of course, that's the first thing we should do. We prayed about it for months. And he came back to us and said, "Mom, I still feel depressed." So we did what the average American knows to do. What do we do when we get sick? We go to the
emergency room or the doctor.
Yeah, we go to the doctor. So I took him to a psychiatrist. Yes, we took him to a counselor. The counselor was on antidepressant medication. And I believe that we don't get sick because of a lack of medication in our diet. Right? Does that make sense?
Right. That makes sense.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, is medication going to solve the problem? Probably not. So we went to the doctor. We were on the medication. He felt a little better. We went back to the doctor the next month. What does the doctor do for us?
More medication?
Increases his medication. This whole time, I'm like that mad mama cow. I want to know why. Why is he suffering? Because if you think about it, Cathy, in order to solve any problem, what do we have to do first?
We have to get to the root of the problem.
Exactly. Identify the cause of the problem. And to solve the problem, you remove the cause, and then the problem solves itself. I believe 100% God designed our bodies to heal when we remove the interference and we give the body what it needs, right?
Yes.
So our chiropractor was our primary care physician, and he had been watching what was going on with our whole family. And he said, "Tammy, I think there's a toxicity problem somewhere." And Dr. Pompa was one of the other guests on your summit, I know. And our chiropractor had been going to conferences with Dr. Pompa, learning about true health and about cellular toxicity. So we did a test that proved that we had a biotoxin problem, which usually is mold. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Where do you live, Cathy? You said Oklahoma.
A southwest portion of Oklahoma, Lawton.
Okay, so is it humid there or is it dry?
It's normally not humid unless we get a lot of rain and then the
Right.
heat rises.
That's what I was thinking. Not too bad. Now, I grew up in West Texas, very dry, and moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, very humid here. And when you have a water leak in your house, think about your toilet overflows, your hot water heater overflows, your kids spill something on the floor and you might not even know it, or you have a leak in the shower inside the wall where you cannot see it and you cannot smell it. And especially in a humid environment, mold can start to grow. So the test told us that biotoxins were part of the problem. And we hired a specialist. God provided beautifully. I knew somebody in one of the Bible classes we had been in who had talked about mold. And I thought, I remember so-and-so said, I remember him talking about mold. And we had a common friend. So I called the common friend who put me in touch with this mold specialist. And he came and inspected our home and told us where the mold was. But the toxin was in our bodies. And Cathy, do you know somebody whose specialty is detoxifying mycotoxins from the body?
No, I have not known anybody, especially back then.
I knew nothing about that. So in the meantime, of course, we knew mercury was toxic, right? When you were a kid and you dropped the thermometer and it broke, what did mother say?
Get away from it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't touch it. Stay away from it.
Yes.
I knew mercury was toxic. I had 8 mercury fillings in my mouth. If you can see the filling, it is called an amalgam. It's a combination of metals, and mercury is over 50% of that filling. I had 8, and that toxin goes into the baby's body when a baby is being created.
Oh, wow.
So we had mold, we had mercury, and there was nobody to solve the problem. So that's why I became a practitioner, which is really a whole separate story because, wow, what a challenge. And when I saw the topic of your summit, Unleashing Your Potential, and again, that's a whole different story, and we can get into that if we have time. But my calling was to save my children. I had to go back to school. I had to get very specific, specialized training in cellular healing and cellular detox and learn how to heal everyone in my family. Each of us had different symptoms. So that was about 12 years ago. Yes.
Tammy, can you describe what symptoms each of you guys had?
Yes, that's a great question, because I was just thinking, your listeners may be thinking, oh, that's fine, but I don't have mold in my house. And so thank you for asking, Cathy. That makes my story relevant to all of your friends, your listeners. So I'm going to use a story to answer that question, if that's okay.
Sure.
I'm going to come to my marker board. And if anyone is listening instead of watching the summit, because I know people will probably be listening while they're driving or while they're, washing dishes or something. The stories I'm going to show are going to be very easy. You can do it in your mind's eye. So I want you to draw a circle and then draw a smaller circle inside that. This is a representation of your cell. And tell me which of your organs is made up of cells.
All of them.
Exactly. Every single organ. So on the outside of your cell has 2 layers of fat, and that needs to be healthy fat. In the last probably 40 years, think about what diets have been a fad for you and me, Cathy, in our lifetime. People tell us to go on a what?
Fat-free diet.
Exactly. Low fat, fat-free. Oh my goodness. If I could go back and know this truth before I got pregnant so that I could give my children the healthy fat they need. Your brain is over 80% fat.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, okay. Fat is the number 1 ingredient that your brain needs. And think about our children compared to our generation and how much ADD, ADHD, focus problems, attention problems our children have, because when we were pregnant, we were on low-fat diets. Isn't that a tragedy? So you need lots of healthy fat in your body for every cell to function. Then if someone is listening, I want you to think of the cell, that circle that you drew, as a sunshine and all of the rays radiating from the out towards the outside of the sunshine. So what I drew looks like hair on the outside of the cell. Every cell in your body has countless receptors for all of your hormones and all of your nutrients. So think about it as if you're talking on your cell phone and you lose the call, why would that happen? Is your cell phone a piece of trash? What caused the problem?
I know it's not really funny.
It is funny. Yeah, I do that too.
That did get my attention.
Yes.
So there was a disconnect somewhere.
Exactly. We lost reception. We lost the signal, right?
Right.
So in your cell, again, if someone's just listening, I want you to imagine burning out some of those receptors. So like if there's an eclipse over the sun and you can't see part of it. Mm-hmm. So on your cell, all of these receptors are to bring the message into the cell. So one of my specialties is thyroid, simply because 80% of Americans have a thyroid problem. And we know that TSH is a thyroid hormone, T4 is a thyroid hormone, T3 is the active hormone. It's the one that controls all of your thyroid symptoms. So let's think about what if someone thinks, I have a thyroid problem. The symptoms they're looking at are probably things like their hair is falling out, right? Their skin is dry. They can't lose weight because your thyroid controls your metabolism. They're hot or cold because your thyroid controls your thermostat. Energy, your thyroid controls your energy. It controls all of your moods and your hormones. So if your hormones aren't working, you're supposed to have hormones to put you asleep at night, keep you asleep all night, and hormones are supposed to wake you up in the morning. And if you're healthy, you should be able to wake up without an alarm clock and be happy and free and have energy for the whole day.
Absolutely.
And do you think that happens with most Americans?
No, not at all.
Not at all. They have sleep problems, they have energy problems, they have focus problems. And all of those problems are related to hormones. Not just do I have a hormone, but is my cell hearing the message? So if this is your T3 receptor and it's burned out, you might have exactly enough T3. You might have the perfect level of hormones. Mm-hmm. Same thing with your sleeping hormones, melatonin to put you to sleep. And then you need some cortisol to wake you up in the morning. You might have the perfect level of hormones, but when your cell is inflamed, the brain can't get the message. Here's another great example, because most Americans, the majority of Americans, have a weight problem. Now, I believe that most of those people have tried to go on a diet. They've tried exercise and it doesn't work. So then how do they feel?
They feel horrible. They feel responsible for it.
Exactly. They feel so frustrated. They feel like they did something wrong. And if you try over and over and over and none of the diets work, it's reasonable that you might just give up.
Absolutely.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to eat donuts because it doesn't matter what I eat. So there is a hormone in your body that tells your body to burn fat for fuel. Leptin is that hormone. So if your body might be screaming, burn fat for fuel, your leptin might be really high. When we test our clients, most of the time their leptin is very high. The body is screaming, burn fat for fuel, but the brain can't get the message because the receptor is burned out, just like when you drop a call on your cell phone.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you for explaining. Yes.
It explains why you might go on a diet and not lose any weight.
Yes.
I hope for many of your listeners, this just gave them an enormous light at the end of the tunnel. And now they know it's not a train coming. It's a light of hope because there is a solution. I believe 100%. God designed the body to heal when we remove the interference.
Yes.
Does that make sense, right?
Yes.
And in our medical model, that's not what happens. In the medical model, we get sick, we go to the doctor. He has to stay inside his box, his standard of care box. Legally, he has to stay there. So he has to do the prescribed test, give you the diagnosis, give you the prescribed medicine based on the test and the diagnosis. I believe that we don't get sick because of a lack of medication in our diet, right?
That is an absolutely good point.
Yes. And so when I ask people who have a thyroid problem that was diagnosed, how long does your doctor tell you you're going to have to stay on that medication? What do they say?
They say it for the whole life.
Exactly, forever. Therefore,
Right.
by definition, it didn't get rid of the problem, did it?
No, not at all.
And most of the time, it's not even solving their symptoms. So at this point, we've identified there is hope. The body can heal. The problem, when you think about, you have this long, long, long list of symptoms. My brain doesn't work. My thyroid doesn't work. My adrenals don't work. I feel stressed all of the time. I have digestive issues. My stomach's not working. My colon's not working. My joints aren't working. I hurt all the time. And my skin is looking older and older. The thing that all of those symptoms have in common is the cell. Every organ is made up of cells. So that's the one common denominator.
Yes.
Yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is a cellular problem. And to solve the problem, we need to, again, identify the cause of the problem. So we said the inflammation is burning out all those receptors, so your hormones can't work.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm wondering if some of your listeners may be thinking, okay, let's solve the problem. What's causing the inflammation?
That's what I was thinking. Excellent
Great.
question.
You're so smart. You're so smart, Cathy.
Thanks.
So let's think about what's causing the inflammation. 3 causes. So I want people to get out a pen and paper and write down, unless you're driving. If you're driving, just listen. You can just write it in your mind's eye. 3 causes of the problem. Number 1, sugars and grains. Those 12 grains at the bottom of the food pyramid, that'll kill you. Number 2, bad fats.
Okay.
So you do need to have a healthy diet. However, the 3rd and primary cause of cellular inflammation is toxicity. So there again, I hope that we have answered a question in your listener's mind. I keep on trying this diet and exercise. I try to be healthy, and it seems like nothing I do is working, and they feel so hopeless and defeated and weak and broken because they're missing that piece of the puzzle, the toxins.
Absolutely. So Tammy, to recap, what you're saying is our cells in this situation are severely inflamed. They're
Yes.
not getting the messages.
Right.
And there's 3 main toxins or 3 main causes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sugar, grains, and bad fats
Yes.
and toxins.
Exactly. So sugars and grains are one thing. Grains turn to sugar in the body.
Okay.
So then let's think about those toxins, because that's when I started teaching this subject about 12 years ago, people didn't understand cellular inflammation. Today, a lot of people know something about cellular inflammation because we've got the internet. We weren't on the internet as much 12 years ago, right, Cathy?
No,
not
at all.
No, not at all. And so now we've got the internet and we can Google. We've got Dr. Google, and we can say, my elbow hurts. And Google may say, you might have some inflammation in there. So let's think about the toxins. Where are all these toxins coming from? So I'm going to give you, I want to go 2 different directions if we have some time. Do we have?
Yes, we have plenty of time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to very briefly give you one very uncommon philosophy that you probably haven't heard before. Our bodies absorb toxins from 4 generations. So my son was never directly exposed to lead, but when we did his heavy metals test, his lead was off the chart. And I think I have his test right here. This is a heavy metals chelation challenge. This long line, that was his lead.
Wow.
He was never directly exposed to lead. That came from me. Then within about a year, when we redid his test,
Much improvement.
it was much better. I was very happy about that. Not satisfied, but very, very happy about that. So if my kids were born in the 90s, I was born in 61. So I'm just going to go up to 4 generations. Okay. Because the lead in my body, all of the toxins in my body have accumulated for 4 generations. So I got my mother's lead and her mother's lead and her mother's lead and her mother's lead. So think about back here in the year 1900. How many cars do you and I have? Everybody in our family has a car.
Right.
And when you and I were growing up, there was lead in the gasoline.
Yes, there was.
My great-grandmother didn't have that as a child. When you and I were growing up, there was lead in the paint. My great-grandmother, I don't know that she had paint, and especially my great-great-grandmother, no paint in the house, right? She didn't have pipes bringing water to her house. You and I were drinking water from leaded pipes.
Yes, we were. Yes.
Then think about mercury. Way back here, I had 8 metal fillings. My great-great-grandmother didn't have 8 mercury fillings. And think about all of the poisons that we put on our body. Back here, they didn't do all of that. They didn't look like you and I do. So my children are getting different generations. They're getting more toxins because I grew up in a very toxic generation. Toxins are greater now than they were then. The current generation of children is not expected to outlive their parents.
That is,
you know that?
That is just absolutely terrible. And yes, I heard that stat the other day. Yes.
A tragedy. And that's why 4 generations. So let's think about the toxic exposures that you and I have had.
Tammy, may I make a point to that about the children not outliving their parents?
Yes.
That is why I'm on this mission to bring health and wellness awareness out to the folks, especially those who do not realize what is happening with our inflamed cells and how the interactions of how all that works and how that is affecting us. Right. So thank you so much for being on the summit, and I will let you get back to work.
Thank you for being part of sharing the mission, because I can't share it with enough people in my little community. We all need to share it, and every one of your listeners needs to share it with their friends.
Absolutely, yes.
So that every one of us can be like a ripple in a pond. When you drop a stone in a pond and the ripples just go on and on and on. So I love teaching about health, because I believe all of us can be healthy. In other countries, they don't even have a word for osteoporosis because it doesn't happen. Is that shocking? That's just one example. In our country, we think we're destined to be sicker and sicker and end up in the nursing home, right?
As we get older and older, yes.
And in other countries, that does not happen. They get leaner as they get older. So let's think about all the toxins. Think of your body as being a bucket. And all of the toxins that you've been exposed to for 4 generations are filling up your bucket. Okay. You get symptoms when your bucket overflows. And when our children are born with buckets that are almost full, they start getting symptoms earlier. So think about diseases in our country. When you and I were kids, did kids get cancer?
No, not really.
When you and I were children, were 80% of our friends overweight?
Not at all.
No, those things were unheard of. They were rare. And now it's common. More and more disease at younger and younger ages. And there is a different path. People can make a choice. So think about you and I. We have lead in our bodies.
Yes.
Okay. And I had mercury fillings. I had 8 mercury fillings.
I had several too, probably as many as you did.
And even after you get the fillings removed, the mercury is in the brain. And that's the focus of what I do as a healthcare practitioner. My focus is twofold. Number 1, safe and effective detoxification. Okay. This is not a 20-day detox or a liver cleanse. Those things are not enough to help a person regain their health. You have to do detoxification at the cellular level, detoxing the mercury from the brain, detoxing the lead from the bones safely, because what's another word for toxin?
Illness. I mean,
Yes.
poison.
Poison, exactly. Toxins are poison.
Yes.
So we have to get rid of them safely. So we've got lead and we've got mercury. Now I'm going to put a big one here. PCP, personal care products. The average American woman, now we say women because we put more stuff on our hair and our faces, okay?
Right.
The average American woman is exposed to over 500 poisons every day. Every day. And our great-grandparents didn't have that.
No.
That's why people are sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages, because we have more toxins in our bucket. Think about the things we use to clean our house.
Yes, absolutely. All the bad toxins.
Horribly toxic things. Chlorine in the water, fluoride in the toothpaste, poison all over, inside and outside our body every single day, filling up our buckets. And the reason that is relevant is because the toxins are causing the inflammation at the cellular level, which is breaking down the average American's body. And they're tired, and they are irritable and moody, and they can't sleep, and they're gaining weight no matter what they eat, and they can't hold a thought, and it just keeps getting worse.
Yes, it does.
Because the toxins are causing the inflammation. So this healing the cell is the second part of a true healthcare journey. Get rid of the toxins from the cells and heal the cellular inflammation. Can I share a story with you, a success story?
I would love to hear it. Yes.
Great. This story is from one of my clients named Cheryl. When Cheryl started working with me, she was in her mid-30s. And she shared this story with me after she had been with me less than 5 months, so less than 20 weeks. She had lost 17 pounds. That's about
fabulous.
Most people would be thrilled with that.
Right.
Even though our focus was healing the cell and detoxing the cell. We weren't saying lose weight, lose weight, lose weight. I believe a healthy weight is a byproduct of a healthy body.
I do too. I agree with you. Yes.
And when you have that philosophy, doesn't that give you peace?
Right.
Instead of obsessing over every bite that you eat, if you just put good things in your body and you heal your cells, then you let your body do the healing. So she had gone from 39 to 32% body fat.
Absolutely.
Outrageous.
Wonderful. Yes.
Her muscle mass stayed the same. Now, this woman used to do Camp Gladiator workouts. I never want to do a Camp Gladiator workout, and that's fine for her to do it and me not to. Muscle mass was really important to her. She was thrilled she was maintaining her muscle. Her total body water increased, and her metabolic age decreased 19 years.
Oh my goodness.
Is that great?
That's wonderful.
That's what my clients love, is when we measure their metabolic age and they're getting younger. And they know that because their friends are saying, you're looking so good. What are you doing? Your hair looks good. Your skin looks good. And they feel better.
Right.
Usually very quickly. So I really want people to understand, if there was one message they could get today, it's that you can get better. Right. God designed your body to heal. When we remove the interference, the body can do the healing. Did you have other questions? I
want to recap here. So could diet, well, maybe it's a question. Could diet and nutrition also help, or do they need to get to cellular detoxification only?
That's a brilliant question. Diet can help or hurt. Think about all the toxins in the average American diet. There's glyphosate sprayed all over the food, which is a horrible neurotoxin. And it's in the air, it's in the soil, it's in the water, it's in the glaciers, it's everywhere. What I teach my clients about food is something really simple. food by God for the body by God. God did not make those chemicals.
Right.
God made food to grow on a tree, to grow out of the ground, and he made animals for us to eat. And if someone is vegetarian, that's okay. I'm not going to argue with that right now, but we do have canine teeth. So food by God for the body by God. God did not put boxes on trees, boxes and bags, right?
Right.
So it's a simple diet, number one. Number two, we teach diet variation. Think about generations ago. My ancestry is primarily Scotch-Irish. So think about in the winter, I don't know that they were eating apples in Ireland in the winter. They were probably eating mostly meats and fats, right?
Right.
Then they would plant a garden in the spring, but they couldn't eat out of the garden until it started producing. So they probably starved in the spring, which is a healthy cycle of life. And then in the winter or in the summer and the fall, they probably ate primarily out of their garden. So they had diet variation. They had feasting and famine. They had high carb vegetables and fruits, and they had lower carb, high fat meats and proteins and fats. So they got a lot of diet variation. So those are some of the principles that we believe are a healthy diet.
Okay, those are important. No, those are important points, and it makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have other questions, other things you wanted me to talk about?
I think you've answered most of them. We've talked about all the toxins. Well, we talked primarily about lead and mercury. Are there other toxins people need to be aware of?
Yes, great. That's a great question. If we think about biotoxins, so I'm going to put that in my bucket. Isn't it funny that I left that out of my bucket when that's what made my family sick? So biotoxins are living. Mold is a living thing, and it creates a toxin that is in the air. I'm not talking about an allergy. I'm talking about something that you're breathing. Mold, typically indoors, that's poisonous, is inside the wall where you can't see it and you can't smell it. Then you get that toxin in your body, and it's very easy for you to get co-infections like Epstein-Barr and Lyme and Strep and Staph and H. pylori. All of those are biotoxins, and they're compounded when you have toxic metals in your body. Because the metals in the body builds a biofilm, a goo around the metal to protect you because the metal is poisonous. And those pathogens, those co-infections love to live inside that biofilm. It's like it's a perfect gooey, warm, dark home for them to live in. So you end up with more and more and more and more infections, gut problems, SIBO, dysbiosis, constipation, diarrhea, all of those things because of those biotoxins. So those are the three primary toxins: metals like mercury and lead, environmental toxins, all of our personal care products, household cleaning products. And you notice I am wearing makeup and I do have stuff on my hair. So it's not that you can't I use deodorant. It's not that you can't do all of that. It's that you make some substitutions.
Yes, absolutely.
And you choose products with ingredients that you can pronounce.
Okay.
And then we have the biotoxins. So those are the three toxins that are causing the inflammation that is making people's body just break down.
All right.
The whole body.
That is absolutely wonderful education and information. Basically, what you have shared with us today is that our cells are getting inflamed, and because they're getting inflamed, they're disconnecting with the receptors and the information that our body's trying to send to each other.
Right.
And the reason why they're getting inflamed, the primary reasons, is the biotoxins, the mercury and the lead. And of course, there's toxins in our food, there's toxins in our home. And so what if, when I recap this, I might put somebody on a panic attack. What would you suggest that they do to get started?
That is a brilliant question. We tell our clients, it's like eating an elephant. That's what you're feeling right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That overwhelmed. Oh
Right.
my goodness. The problem is huge. I might as well give up. The way to, do you know, Cathy, how to eat an elephant?
Piece by piece is what I'm going to
Exactly.
guess. Okay.
Exactly. One bite at a time.
Okay.
So you can get better one piece at a time. So your listeners can follow me on YouTube and Facebook and follow my website. I teach a lot of short little videos that's manageable information about little changes you can make every day.
Oh,
Because
that's
everybody's
perfect.
at a different level, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
people are desperate. They're tired of being sick and tired. They've been everywhere and done everything. They're ready to do whatever it takes. That's the kind of person I work with most often. But some people are ready to just make a few changes. So following us on social media is a great way for us to share truth with people at their level. But here, I think, is probably the most important thing that you and I can share today. Why? Why did God put me on this earth? What is my purpose? I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and my husband and I got married very young, so that the odds were all stacked against us, but we were completely committed that we would change generations of dysfunction that I had seen in my family.
Right.
My family is my most important asset. My grandmother got Alzheimer's, and she was in a nursing home for at least 10 years. So my kids didn't know her. And I will do whatever it takes not to be there, because I want to enjoy my health when I'm older. I don't want to end up in a nursing home for 10 years. I want to work. I don't need to retire and collect Social Security and sit on the couch and do nothing. So many people do that because their bodies are broken down and they don't feel like they have a choice. I want to have a choice. My purpose is to be vibrant for my whole life. So I think the most important thing for people to learn, because so far, really, we've given them a lot of knowledge.
Right.
But knowledge changes our lives when
we put it to use.
Exactly.
When we feel motivated.
Yes. So your why, your purpose is what will motivate you to eat that elephant one bite at a time. So that's the most important thing for your listeners to unleash their potential. They need to know what is their potential. What is your purpose? Why? Why do you want to get better?
I love that.
That's so
that's
important.
Correct. Yes, it is. Yes,
Critical.
and that will motivate them and inspire them.
Exactly. My son, because he went on a really difficult journey because of mold, was moving into a new apartment. He was shopping for apartments. He walked in, and when a wall has been wet, you can see that it's has been swollen, and then sometimes they'll just paint over it. And he could see that. He ran out of that house. He knew that his purpose in life would be devastated if he got sick again.
Absolutely.
And so he told the realtor, I love that floor plan. I love this neighborhood. Find me a house without mold. And they did. Because he never wants to go back where he was. He knows what it was like to be sick, and he knows what it's like to be healthy.
Yes. And once you're healthy and vibrant, you just don't want to go back. You're absolutely right.
It's worth everything because it touches, think about what your health affects.
It affects everything we do.
Everything. Exactly.
You and I have the same philosophy. I've always told my children, I don't want to grow old if I don't have my health.
Right.
So, yes.
That's exactly right.
It's not fun,
Yeah.
And I want to be there. You're absolutely right about the family. I want to be there for the grandkids.
Yes.
And maybe I'll live long enough to see their kids, the grandkids' kids.
I don't know. I was about 30 when I had kids. If they're about 30 when they have kids, I'm going to be 90. Or my great grandkids are going to be 120. But that's okay. The human body is designed to live to at least 120.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Is that shocking? It doesn't happen in this country. But you and I, Cathy, we can choose.
Right.
Every one of us can make a choice for ourselves.
We can. And we can also help make other people aware that they can make choices for themselves.
Yes, because I don't want to be the only healthy old person. I want to have some healthy old friends.
Right. Absolutely. So you can do things with them.
Yes, exactly.
Have fun. Well, I hope that the takeaways are enormous here, audience. And I hope that we've inspired you and motivated you to, if you're not already, to take an interest in this topic and do what you can for yourself or for your family, whatever it takes, and reach out to us if you need either one of us. Tammy, I believe you're offering a free gift. How can they reach out to you?
Yes, we're offering a great gift that my clients say was transformational in their system, in the program with us. I think so many people have tried to go on a diet and they've failed. They haven't lost weight. It hasn't made any difference. And they give up because they're still craving carbs or sugars, or they don't know what to eat. So we have a great ebook that will teach you how to become a fat burner, which
Awesome.
is transformational. Your body can burn two things for fuel, carbs or fat. When you're a carb burner, you constantly crave carbs. But imagine if you could get rid of the cravings and decide what to eat with your mind, your conscious mind, your intention, not your subconscious cravings.
That'd be wonderful.
Incredibly empowering. So that is our free gift that can absolutely be transformational.
Okay. And your website?
Yes, our website is Health for a Purpose. And my purpose is so that you can live your life with vibrant health, free from the distraction of disease. So the business is Health for a Purpose. That's our website, Health for a Purpose. You can find us on YouTube under Tammy Stewart, CHC. That's Certified Health Coach. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. And if you just Google that, that'll also take you to our website.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful information with our audience. And I'm so glad that you could be here today. And thank you for sharing the free gift with the audience. And audience, please take advantage of that. Now, Tammy, you are the last speaker in our series. So I want to remind the audience that we're doing a 72-hour replay on October 18th. So if you've missed any of these or you didn't get to catch all of Tammy's, just come back. We're on October 18th. We're going to have a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I believe. We'll have a 72-hour replay so you can watch all of us again, hopefully.
Great, because it always helps to listen to something again.
It does.
You learn different things every time. Do they also have an opportunity to purchase a recording of the summit?
They do, and they've already received that opportunity, but since you brought it up, I'll bring it up again. Yes, they can have a lifetime purchase for $79.
Fabulous.
And what that means is that on October 20th or 21st, we'll be releasing that.
Okay.
And they will have 24 months to access it, and then they can download it to their computer before the 24 months is up, any of the episodes.
Fabulous. And that's less than your family would spend going out to eat once.
Absolutely.
It's less than I used to spend on allergy medicine in a month. That's a great thing. Cathy, thank you for being part of our mission for sharing the truth with people, the truth about health, and that when you have good health, number one, you can have good health. And when you do, it unleashes your potential. You can do what God put you here to do. So I honor you for sharing, for being a beacon of light and hope for people. Thank you for inviting me.
You're absolutely welcome. And thank you, Tammy, for that wonderful compliment. All right, folks, we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.